And we seem to be doing pretty well on time. I'm looking at Kristin in a very pointed way, but we're doing fine, aren't we? So you can feel relaxed, Michel. I'm going to invite now Michel Deschapelles, who's working at Egon Zehnder, a leading international company advising on issues of talent and leadership, which gives him a very privileged vantage point to tell us about what he thinks and sees as his understanding of corporate needs for the future and how we can have flourishing career paths. So following up from his presentation last year, because I believe you spoke last year at the WINConference, so he's back again, he did something right. Michel spoke about inclusion and diversity. I don't know whether we can use that word now after the first session, but anyway. And so this year, Michel is going to give us some tips we can all use to help us flourish in our career. IBM, how are you doing? In our career by, in his words, paying attention to accelerated transitioning. I'd be interested to know what that is, and integrating effectively in your role. Thank you, Michel.
Thank you. Thank you. Let me take a loving breath, like we learned yesterday in our drumming session. Well, thanks again for inviting me. Last year, I spoke about how to make the organization more inclusive. And this year, I want to talk about how to make yourself feel more included in the organization. At Egon Zehnder, we deal with senior leaders all over the world on the issue of transitioning, on the issue of leading. And we've been doing this for 50 years, so I think we have a point of view on how to effectively transition into a group. Now, I love being at WIN because I think you address the fundamental problem that we face today. We need more women in senior leadership positions. Now, what I want to talk about today is really gender neutral. But I think that what we've seen throughout the world as to how one can transition is applicable to either gender. So let me start out with this. This is a cartoon I saw in the Wall Street Journal. And here's a couple. They're probably going to renovate a bathroom. And the salesperson says, "We offer a complete design, demolition, construction, and marriage counseling with each renovation project." I know that was my experience. I wish I would have had the marriage counseling for the renovation project we did. But this is really as to how one deals with change. And if renovating a bathroom is so painful, imagine what it's like to take on a new role. And not only that, for a leader, but imagine what it's like for the group to have a new leader. Okay? So the reality is that professional movement is a reality today. According to Monster.com, which is a large website of resumes and job postings, 30% of the people that take on a new job leave within 2 years. Terrible statistic. The U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics says that 2 generations ago, the average person had 6 roles in their lifetime, and now that has changed to be 11, and it's continuing to accelerate with the millennials entering the job market. At Egon Zehnder, we see that senior leaders change roles every 3 to 4 years. Not necessarily change organizations, but change roles. So this is about transitioning into a new role. That means that 25% of everyone here will transition into a new role within the next 12 months. And very often, transitioning means newness. So this is my favorite picture about newness. Very often, newness feels like this. Now, I don't remember where I got this picture, but I had a caption saying, "If you're in trouble, just look like you know what you're doing." And I know what you're thinking. Look at Michel. He's a privileged white male standing here showing us this picture. He doesn't know what it's like to feel like that. But my reality is very different from that. So I was born to an immigrant family. I grew up in Spain with a name like Michel. I am dyslexic, so I still can't spell. But my worst memory as a child was having the whole classroom chant my name and ask for the teacher to call me to read, because I couldn't read. It's painful even just to recall it now. Then my parents decided to move to the US, and I didn't speak English, so I felt like the fox. And then they put me in an all-boys school with a name like Michel. So this experience has been prevalent throughout my entire life. And I've done fairly well. And the experience that we've had at Egon Zehnder is that we help senior leaders transition from being the person that's new to being a member of the pack. And we have found that there are 5 pillars that one needs to focus on to effectively integrate into an organization. Normally, it takes about 12 months to integrate into a new group. We found a way to accelerate that to make it 3 months. And it's by focusing on these 5 pillars. The first is about assuming operational leadership. This means, does the leader know what needs to be done on a tactical basis? What's the task? If you remember yesterday, Anita from HP had those 6 things that she was looking at. That's operational leadership. Take charge of a team. Again, let me use Anita as an example. She went around and found out the strengths and weaknesses of her team. She found hidden talents that helped her get recognition at headquarters. So can the leader really figure that out and understand what is in the group? The third, build strategic intent. This goes beyond the 12 to 24 months. This is thinking about 3 to 5 years. Can this leader, can she figure out the strategy, formulate it, articulate it, and sell it to the team? Fourth, align with stakeholders. Does the leader realize who the stakeholders are, internal and external, and find ways to build alliances with them so that these stakeholders can help move the initiatives forward? Fifth, engage with the culture. Every group has a different culture. Even within the same organization, there are different cultures. So are the decisions made before the meeting, during the meeting, or after the meeting? A new leader needs to be functioning in the new culture. And again, it takes 12 months to figure that out, figure out what is the unconscious behavior of the group, of the culture. What our research shows is that the first 3, the top 3, are really things that most leaders have. But failure comes about by not paying attention to aligning with stakeholders and engaging with the culture. That's what the research shows worldwide, across cultures, government, nonprofits, and corporates. So maybe we can think about how we can align with stakeholders and engage with the culture, and I have some points of view. It's very aligned with the theme of this conference. To integrate is to flourish in the garden. But it's not so much about one flourishing by yourself. You want to flourish with the garden. You want the group to take you in as a leader. If you're going to be the leader, you need the followers to follow you. So you need everybody else to take you in. So how do we do that? This is the plan, and this is the plan that you need to take in, because nobody does it for you. HR is often overwhelmed. Nobody checks to see how things are going. This is something you need to do for yourself. First of all, a map. Second of all, take the elevator to the top floor. And third, think about quantum physics. Okay? Quantum physics. Very, very important. So let's go over these. First of all, you need to create a map. You need to understand who the stakeholders are, what they do, where they are, identify them, understand their preferences and attitudes. Why are they important? They can be internal, they can be external. And prepare a plan as to how you're going to communicate with them. And build your awareness of informal networks that are happening all the time. That's the first part. Secondly, the elevator speech. So there's a workshop, I think it's tomorrow, on the brand Call You. It's today? Yesterday. Very important. You need to figure out what your brand is. So think about your elevator speech almost as an emotional ticket to entry into the group. You need to be able to communicate how you feel about joining the organization. Why are you joining the organization? Do you understand what their challenges are? What are you going to bring to bear in helping these challenges? You need to tailor it to each audience, and you need to communicate it over and over again. But it should be an elevator statement, not a 15-minute speech. And communicate it over and over again. That will help these stakeholders take it in. And thirdly, quantum physics, the most important aspect here. So in quantum physics, you can take two subatomic particles, and if you bring them close enough to each other, they start taking properties of each other, and that's called entanglement. So think of two independently spinning particles. You bring them together, they get entangled, they start spinning together. Once they get entangled, you can then separate them across space. And if you look at one, you know how the other one is doing. This is a phenomenon that happens for real, but nobody really can understand it or explain it. But it happens. And why is this important? It's important because people entangle as well. And people get entangled via shared experiences. And what are shared experiences? They can be a bunch of different things. They can be projects that you're working on together, team meetings, taking a meal, a conversation. It's a hot tub, but it could be a water cooler. Outings, a business trip. These two are going on a very interesting business trip. It's those shared experiences that create a bond that you see the world the same way. It creates mutual admiration. It creates social cohesiveness. The shared experiences is what allows other people to take you in. And I remember an old Indian saying that says, if you want to change a person's mind, share your mind. If you want to change a person's heart, share your heart. But if you want to change a person's life, you need to share your life. And shared experiences are a way of getting the group to take you in so that you don't feel like that fox. Maya Angelou is an American poet, and I really like what she said because it fits in with this concept of shared experiences. She said, I've learned that nobody will remember what you did. Nobody will remember what you said, but everyone will remember how you made them feel. And it's those shared experiences that creates that bond. So here we are again. We're new in the group. But think about mapping your stakeholders, creating a brand, and entangling via shared experiences so you can change the paradigm of that group into what you see on the screen. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Michel. That was terrific. And you've set us up beautifully for the second part of the session, which is about shared experiences. So that's